Welcome to the next big thing in professional wrestling podcasting. This is Is Gibby with your host, Is Gibby. Welcome to the Is Gibby podcast, coming at you from parts unknown. It's Zach McGibby, bringing you the next big thing in wrestling podcasting. If you're listening on YouTube, remember that if you like this podcast, to leave a like and subscribe to the Is Gibby YouTube channel to get you up to date on the latest wrestling reviews and news. Don't forget to also leave a comment on the podcast if there's anything you want me to improve on for future podcasts. If you're listening on Podbean, let the people know about this podcast. Share this podcast on Twitter or on Facebook. Let the people know. So on this episode of the Is Gibby podcast, we are reviewing the Monday Night Raw that occurred this week. So we shall start off with the Shield segment in the ring against Evolution. The Shield came out to talk about their match that's going to be coming up at Payback with Evolution. So essentially it's Dean Ambrose talking about the beatings that Evolution gave them last week and saying how they're not going to back down. This was a pretty solid promo. They seem to be a little bit nervous. I don't know about you guys, but they didn't seem on their game as they usually are this week as they were other weeks. But it definitely wasn't a bad promo. It was cool to see the Shield run over and get at Evolution and leaving Evolution on their backs. Usually we've been seeing the Shield kind of having their backs on the ground, but it's nice to see a little bit of a shift to equal out the feud. But this was definitely an interesting segment, and they've announced, I believe, that there is going to be a rematch between the Shield and Evolution. So it seems like Batista is going to be a part of that match as of right now. But it'll definitely be interesting, the match. Their first match at Extreme Rules was just really, really, really good. So I'm glad they're doing a rematch. I believe they're starting to build up more of the Reigns and Triple H feud that apparently they're planning at SummerSlam. But we'll see. They talk about it a bit more in this next segment, which I'll go at later. But yeah, this was a solid segment to start off the show. Definitely a good way to start off the show with the Shield beating Evolution. So yeah, it was a good segment. So the next segment we have is our first match of the night, which is Rob Van Dam versus Jack Swagger. I don't know what they're doing with Van Dam. I don't even know why they honestly brought him back. Van Dam has been doing absolutely nothing at this point. I know he's a part-time guy, and I know that he's probably there to put over some guys, but he needs to make himself look like a legitimate threat in order to actually make those guys that are getting over look good. That's why Jericho's stuff worked, because he immediately went for the WWE title when CM Punk was champion, giving people the thought that, he's a legit contender. But anyways, that's just my little rant. Swagger, I just feel bad for Swagger. He's got a great manager with him, and he's just being pushed down even more and just taking on lower mid-card matches, which is disappointing to see, although it is partly his fault for what he did. But it still shouldn't make the guy go down that far on the card. So you had Adam Rose come out for the segment. You had a bunch of his party goers. I think JTG is in the party goers, but I'm not too sure. So that's quite interesting. I'm glad they're doing something with JTG, because honestly he has been doing nothing as of now. But Adam Rose is bringing some interesting stuff to the ring. I think Rose is an interesting character. He's definitely a mid-card character. It just screams jobber all over, like maybe glorified jobber. but his gimmick just screams jobber, and I don't know what they're going to do with this gimmick to make him seem like a legitimate mid-card contender. Look at how Fandango is going. He's not jobber status, but he's lower mid-card, and it's just going to be interesting what they're going to do. Adam Rose just reminds me way too much of Fandango. So I don't know what they're going to do there. We're going to probably have a Swagger and Adam Rose match at Payback, and that will probably be Adam Rose's debut. I'm glad they're doing these debuts at pay-per-views. I'm fine with that, as long as they build up the guys well. I think, though, as of now, I don't think it's really necessary for Rose to debut at Payback. It'll probably be more suitable for him to debut on Raw. That's personally what I feel about Rose. I think Rose could do something, but it's not really Rose's time to go move up into the main event status. That was the Rob Van Dam Jack Swagger match. We also, before I go on to the next segment, before the match started, Zeb Coulter added Adam Rose to the deportation list. It's quite funny how Coulter has a deportation list on a picket fence. It's interesting what they're doing with Coulter. But they really need to start doing more for Swagger. So the next segment is Alicia Fox versus Paige. This was an interesting segment after the match because Alicia Fox totally freaked out, and I thought this could build her up as a good contender for the Divas title since AJ Lee is gone, and I guess they're not going to continue the feud between Paige and Tamina. So I guess they need to build up some new characters, and Alicia Fox is a good wrestler, and I'm glad they're doing that. It'd be cool to see Natalya, though, but I think they're saving her for something else. After the match, we had Alicia Fox throwing a temper tantrum and just destroying everything, which could lead to something very interesting in this feud that could actually make the division, the Divas division itself, much more interesting. And it helps build up new characters for the Divas division so that Paige can look like a credible women's champion. So I think this was a good segment. I heard that she quit on the WWE app, which when I heard that, I thought that at the time this was a wasted moment. But now from what I'm hearing, it's more the fact it's storyline, so that's good. I think that's an interesting way of doing the storyline. This was a good segment. And the match itself was pretty good. But definitely the way they built up Alicia Fox's new character is definitely interesting. So the next segment was Daniel Bryan addressing the fans. Daniel Bryan came out to announce that he was going to have neck surgery. This is from what I read, a legit injury by Daniel Bryan. So that's quite disappointing to see. One of my fans on Twitter responded, asked what are they going to do now? Are they going to vacate the title? What should they do? I don't think they're going to vacate Daniel Bryan's title because I've been looking at timelines and they said it could go just after Payback, and the earliest it could go is actually before Payback, but from the way it sounded like he's going to miss Payback. So I think they can handle without the championship in the main event for a pay-per-view. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it'd be stupid for them now to vacate the title. So it'd be interesting what they're going to do. I know they said that they were going to announce on Raw what they're going to do with the WWE World Heavyweight title. It's going to be interesting what they're going to do. I don't think they'll vacate the title, but I think they're going to have something. I don't know what to help patch fill in that open spot for the World Championship. And maybe that means having the U.S. title actually defended by Sheamus, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. So this was a good promo. Bad news, obviously. It's disappointing to hear that, especially the way Daniel Bryan's been going. But really, the storyline for Daniel Bryan hasn't been going very well for him and Kane. So he kind of got out of there, had a good time. I was surprised that they were continuing the feud between Daniel Bryan and Kane. Although the match was great, I actually thought it was a pretty solid match, especially the Flaming Table. The way the storyline was going was was not going very well. So I guess he got out of there at the right time. So I guess this is Kane's last hoorah. I think Kane's going to retire by the end of the year because he's getting older too. So it'll be interesting what they're going to do with the title. I don't think they're going to vacate it, and I don't think Daniel Bryan will be out as long as people think. From what I've read, it's not that bad of a neck injury, but neck surgery is also always very dangerous, especially when it comes to wrestling. So I guess we'll see. But they're having the surgery apparently tomorrow as I'm recording this. So I guess the way the surgery goes is what they're going to do with the WWE title. So I think we should pay close attention to that. So the next segment we had was Wyatt family versus John Cena and the Usos. This was an interesting match. I liked the match. A lot of great action happening. It's so cool always to see Luke Harper hit a drop kick. I mean, a guy for his size shouldn't really be doing that good of a drop kick, but he does. It was also cool seeing the Usos both doing the super kick. That was also very solid. It was kind of just the standard tag match a little bit, but there were some good stuff going on in the match, and it's really cool. And the Wyatt's last line is just it's hinting something, and I'm interested to see where this is going. The storyline itself for the Wyatt family versus John Cena has been great. The matches have not been so much, especially the Extreme Rules match. I was very much disappointed. Maybe it was my high hopes, but for a storyline of this caliber between Cena and Bray Wyatt, I think they should be producing better matches, and it's not Wyatt's fault really. It's partly Cena's too. I mean, let's be honest, Cena can't work a steel cage match at all. I don't know anybody that can make a steel cage match boring like John Cena. So nothing against Cena, because I think he has his moments to be a really good wrestler with the right people. But he doesn't know how to work a cage match, so he needs to do something different other than a cage match. But yeah, it was your solid standard tag match. But it was an entertaining tag match, and just the way this feud is going between the Wyatt family and Cena is going very interestingly well. So the next segment is Evolution responding to the attacks. It's interesting what Triple H said. I'll look up a quote here, but I believe he said something like Roman Reigns will be the member that does not come back from Payback. I believe that's what he said. Interesting that he points out Reigns here in this promo. So this is foreshadowing something, probably for SummerSlam between Triple H and Roman Reigns. It's good that they let Triple H do the talking. I know that Triple H can sometimes be hit or miss on the microphone, but this was good in terms of the circumstances. And the way that Triple H played it off on the microphone was very good. And then there was the Shield attacking. There was the surprise attack, which I didn't really feel was kind of necessary because they already attacked Evolution once. So I thought the second attack was kind of lacking a bit. But it's interesting where how they're gonna keep going with this Evolution and Shield feud. And I'm liking the angle where they're saying Triple H built them up, so now he has to build them down, which goes to his internet character of burying people. But it's definitely interesting, this feud, and I'm interested to see how it's going to end up at Payback, especially with the way Batista is going right now. So yeah, it was a solid promo. The attack wasn't really surprising, and it was kind of lacking considering that they had a brawl earlier, but it definitely wasn't a bad brawl either. So it was a good segment. So the next match we had was Natalya versus Nikki Bella. This was stupid. This was stupid beyond just stupid. I don't understand this storyline. I mean, I know you're trying to relate Total Divas to your storylines, but that's a stupid storyline. I don't care about a painting that Natalya did. I don't care. I want to see wrestling. I don't care. 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 And the match itself was just poor. It was poor. The victory roll, poor. Everything, poor. Just poor. It was not good. It was just not good. And it made every little thing that little glimmer of hope in the Divas division earlier in the night just vanish. It just made it seem like that glimmer of hope was just not there. And I don't care. I don't watch Total Divas, and I'm sorry for the fans that do follow me and do watch Total Divas, but I don't watch that show, and I don't want going into WWE storylines. And I don't care about a stupid painting, and I don't care that it's going to be a storyline. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Did I mention I don't care? So that's what I felt about this match. I don't care, and it was stupid. Moving on. Sheamus versus Curtis Axel, and then Sheamus versus Ryback. The Ryback and Curtis Axel. Apparently there was a coin flip on who could face. I missed some of this segment, to be honest, so I'm on Bleacher Report just looking back on this. I saw Ryback versus Sheamus, not the Ryback. I saw Ryback versus Sheamus, and I'm amazed at how much Ryback has improved over the past year. He's gotten a lot better, and he's working a lot better matches. And Sheamus also worked a very good match with Ryback, but from what I've heard, he didn't have a very good match with Curtis Axel. And so, which is not really surprising because Curtis Axel is kind of just bland. He doesn't have a very good character. Solid wrestler, but not a very good character. No charisma, just none. I can't believe that WWE gave Paul Heyman to this guy. I'm all for pushing talent, but it has to be the right talent. And Curtis Axel was not the guy. But Ryback had a very, very good match with Sheamus. It was just a classic brawler match, and Sheamus is known for very good brawler matches. And Ryback is just improving, and I'm glad to see that because Ryback has apparently shows a lot of great personality on Twitter, and I'm glad they're finally sort of honing that into the WWE storylines. It's just it was great stuff, and I'm glad that Ryback is improving. Ryback is improving a lot, and I did see potential in him. I know there was the people that said he wasn't getting over, but here he is with the Feed Me More chants behind him when he was face, and he knows how to get over. He knows how to get over, and he's doing a good job as a heel, and I think he should go after the U.S. title. I would love to see a Sheamus versus Ryback match. I saw a lot of people on Twitter complaining that they were seeing a Sheamus versus Ryback match, but when I saw the match, I'm like, they got to continue this. This is really good. Because Ryback is just improving, and I guess they share very good chemistry with Sheamus. So yeah, apparently the Curtis Axel one was forgettable, but the Ryback versus Sheamus match, was good. So I like that match. So the next segment we had was Stephanie McMahon addressing Daniel Bryan. I guess this was a way to get Daniel Bryan off television, as we had Demon Kane come out dragging Daniel Bryan's body. Can we stop calling him Demon Kane, please? We all know it's Kane. I mean, no, I don't want the Demon Kane. I don't want the Demon Kane. Kane is fine. Kane was always fine. But anyways, moving on. It's interesting what Stephanie McMahon was about to do before Kane came out dragging Daniel Bryan, which will lead to more questions for the next episode of Raw. So it was definitely an interesting segment. This was just a way to get Bryan to leave, although I didn't think it was necessary since he announced he was going to get surgery. So this promo wasn't bad. It was just, I didn't feel it was a necessary promo. I think it was more to build up Stephanie McMahon more than anything. It's just, no. That's not the way to get Daniel Bryan off television. Make him look strong. And then instead you just have Kane beating up your world heavyweight champion and leaving him out to dry. Just wonderful. That's the way to build your champion. Just, no. That's not how you do it. And I'm glad that Daniel Bryan got out of there as soon as he could, because the storyline wasn't getting any better. It wasn't a bad promo. It wasn't a bad promo, sorry, but it was just, I didn't feel it was really necessary. So yeah, it wasn't really a necessary promo. So the next match we had Fandango versus Dolph Ziggler. This was a good improvement. I'm glad we're not seeing a Fandango versus Santino Marella match again. This was solid. They need to do something with Ziggler. I have a video talking about what they should do with Ziggler that you should check out on YouTube. I'll put a link on Twitter, and you can find that, and I'll pin the tweet. Fandango versus Dolph Ziggler. This was definitely improvement. Short match. It was I'm just glad that they're doing this over Fandango versus Santino Marella. Not the biggest fan of Santino Marella. His early gimmicks in 2008 were funny, but now they've kind of just left him out to dry with some of the comedy stuff he's been getting. So it's definitely an improvement, especially when you have Dolph Ziggler going in there. But yeah, it was just filler. It was entertaining filler, but it was still filler nonetheless. So it wasn't that bad of a match, but it was, filler. So the next segment we had was Hacksaw Jim Duggan coming out for promotion of Legends House. It's always great to see Hacksaw Jim Duggan come out. We had a bunch of USA chants. And then we had Rusev come out with Lana. And it's just, it looks like they're really trying to bring up the old Cold War mentality. So we're going to bring back the Cold War mentality from 20 years ago. So, yeah. But it's cool to see that Rusev is getting new competition. But I don't like the opponent that he is facing, Big E. I don't like that. I don't think that's a good opponent for Rusev yet, because Big E is moving down on the ladder when he should be moving up after recently losing the Intercontinental title. They need to find a way to get Big E back on track, because I think he's a great wrestler. You got to give that 5 count gimmick back to him. It's a good gimmick, and it works for him because of his moveset and how he wrestles. But yeah, I'm glad that Rusev is getting new competition. But I just wish it wasn't with Big E Langston. But then again, it could have. At least they're going, instead of having him go straight to the main event like they did with Ryback, they have him building up through the mid card. So that's always good to see. So yeah, I just wish they stop going back to that Cold War mentality. I know the current situation in Ukraine is definitely garnering some news, but I don't really want to see that unless just something goes better with this feud. I just worry because Rusev is the Russian hero and Big E is going to be the American hero. I don't know anyone who really wins out in this feud. If Big E wins, then Rusev doesn't have that push that he's looking for to get himself higher. If Rusev wins, Big E doesn't get that push he's looking for to get himself higher because he's losing to a rising star, which plummets his stock like crazy. So this isn't really the feud that should be set up for Rusev. It should be someone else. Not R-Truth and Xavier Woods again. God, no. But someone a little different, someone maybe a bit low on the card, and that's usually there. It'd be great to have Christian. I think he's hurt or something. I think he has a concussion. But that would be cool. Obviously, we won't see that because he's hurt. Just somebody else other than Big E. Because right now I'm seeing just lack of confidence in Big E, which is disappointing because he's a solid, big wrestler. And I want them to do more with Big E. So the next segment we had was Damien Sandow versus Cody Rhodes. This should have been a lot better considering their match at SummerSlam, but this wasn't. This was just more building up to Cody Rhodes turning heel because he did the eye rake during the match. So that's usually a heel tactic. So we're going to start to see the ripple effect going into the tag team of Goldust and Cody Rhodes. This needed more. This was not the match from SummerSlam. This is not that good at all. Sandow's stock is just low, and they need to do something. I mean, if you're gonna have Sandow's stock go low, might as well have him face Rusev, and then maybe try and get him back up. The difference between Sandow and Big E is that Sandow has been around a bit longer and has been around the roster a bit longer, while Big E is still, in my opinion, a rising star, and you can't have a rising star go against another rising star. While Sandow has really kind of cemented his place, not in the mid-card, but cemented himself on the roster. So I think it should be Damien Sandow versus Rusev. That may not be a great feud, but if you're going to push Rusev to be better, you might as well have Sandow. If you have no lack of faith in Sandow, God knows why you would have so much lack of faith in Sandow. But I saw the pipe bomb he put on the WWE app, and I saw this match. I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen, and nothing really happened. So I don't know what they're doing. They got to build up some way for that pipe bomb that he said on the WWE app. If I read a news report, if it's all to get promotion onto the WWE app, you are wasting your time. Because I don't think people are going to care less about what happens on the WWE app. You are just wasting your time and the talent that's in WWE if you're trying to build it up to your network and your app. If you want people to watch your app and your network, do good stuff on your main show, not your app and your network that nobody watches. It's the main show that counts. God, I am not in a good mood today. But yeah, the match was just not very good. Should have been a lot better. So then I go to the last match of the night, which was Roman Reigns versus Batista. Forgettable match, but what happened afterwards was the brawl outside. And we had a bunch of heels coming out to beat up the Shield, which was an interesting move. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was a good way to end the show. It was a nice, cool little back and forth. I think this is what they're going to do to build up the Shield and Evolution. I think they're going to build that up more so that they can fill in the WWE time slot or the heavyweight championship slot. But that's my honest opinion. It wasn't the best match in the world, but it was more what happened after the match that's really going to stick to people's heads for the next episode of Raw. So it was really just a way to end Raw, to get people to remember it, and so that they can watch the Raw next week. So yeah, that's it. That was the Monday Night Raw. So I'd like to thank you for listening to the Raw Is Gibby podcast on Podbean and YouTube. If you'd like to tweet stuff at me, you can follow me at Raw Is Gibby. If you would like to post stuff on Facebook, you can find me under the same name. So yeah, thank you for listening to the Raw Is Gibby podcast, and I hope you have a good day. Gibby out.